a real treat to introduce our first OLLI winter term presenter. It's always fun to go first, at least I think it is. Joan Spencer is going to talk to us about her course, Communicating with Your Guidance. So take it away, Joan.
Okay, well, thank you, Linda. I'm Joan Spencer, and I'm the author of Your Personal Guidance System, and I'm going to be teaching Communicating with Your Guidance. And everyone has guidance, and I just want to let you know about this because a lot of us think we don't have anything, that we have no abilities, that we're not psychic, we're not clairvoyant, but everyone does have guidance, and you all get messages, but we just don't recognize them. We've been trained not to notice them. So to illustrate this, I'd like to share a story of mine and how the guidance comes in. A friend of mine, we would have lunch about every 6 to 8 months. And we'd get together and catch up on things. So we were at lunch one day and we were sharing what was going on with each other. And unbeknownst to me, she kept getting pictures. She kept thinking about shoes. She couldn't figure out why she kept thinking about shoes. But then I was sharing with her that I was going to go on a trail ride. And I was going to go out and buy a pair of hiking boots for the ride. I thought, I don't have a pair. I'm going to go out and buy one. All of a sudden she goes, oh, I know what's happened. I've been getting these images of these shoes and thinking about shoes. It's because you need cowboy boots. There's a big difference between cowboy boots and hiking boots when you're riding a horse. And she went on to explain about how the military, way back when they used to ride horses, they would always be marching in their marching boots, and then they would get on the horses and ride. Well, the problem is those boots do not slip out of the stirrup very easily. And so if they fell from their horse or thrown from the horse, all of a sudden they found themselves being dragged, and many of them died because of the bumpiness of being dragged by the horse until it finally decided to slow down. Well, okay, so I knew right then and there that this was a message for me, and I needed to go buy a pair of cowboy boots, because now I understood why they have the pointed toes, why they're slick on the end, why they have the heel, because the heel actually prevents your foot going through the stirrup. She just gave me a whole education, and it was really good. And also interesting to note on this, as I said, we would meet about every 6 to 8 months. I was going on that trail ride in 5 days. So I had very little time to go out and purchase those cowboy boots. But very interesting. Now, you may call this luck, coincidence, whatever you think, but I really understood that the helpers that I have, the guidance that I have, arranged to make sure that I had that luncheon date with her prior to going on that ride, and also to have it set up with her who had the whole history of it. So I just want to ask you, do you have a story to share like that? And if you think about it, or the luck and the coincidences, we're going to explore so much of these ideas, and you'll get familiar. You're going to understand what your guidance is and how you can work with it. I really hope to see you there, and thank you so much. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Wow, thank you so much, Joan. I learned a lot just about cowboy boots. So thank you so much for offering that. And again, Joan's course is Communicating with Your Guidance. All right, everybody, we've got our next presenter will be Sharon Sherman. And Sharon is teaching computer basics for Macs and Windows. And I'm looking for Sharon so I can highlight you.
Hey, hi all. Sharon Sherman. I'm the OLLI geek. I teach the technology classes, and because I'm a digital girl, we of course have to have some slides. So here we go. You should see a purple screen. The course that I'm offering this semester is Computer Basics for Macs and Windows. We're talking laptops, PCs, machines. We have often a frustration with our computers. I would say it's right up there on occasion with world peace, coronavirus, and public speaking. More often, it's where's the Wi-Fi? What's happened to my application or operating system, and why is my battery nearly run down? We also, we need our computers. They're an integral part of our life for many of us. My husband and I wouldn't know how long we slept without consulting our Fitbit, right? And who's the course for then? The course is for someone who's fearful of their computer or frustrated or just wants to learn more. But it's also for those of you that may know something about their computers, because we're adults and we're on a need to know basis, but sometimes we don't know what we need to know. So this is a systematic approach versus the hodgepodge that we normally learn stuff in about our computers. And we're going to learn about terminology because knowledge is power. We're going to cover a little bit about hardware. What's an operating system? How can you control your Windows and your Mac OS? What's application software? Let's take a look at the world of applications. How do you buy a computer? And we're integral to the internet. Many of us can't live without it, and it's what we have our machines for often. And yet, I bet most of us do not know how the technology operates. We're going to learn about that. And your browser, how do you work the settings on your browser? And what the heck is email? I mean, we send, receive, but I bet most of us do not know how the technology works. So we'll learn a little bit about that and you'll be more informed. We're blithely unaware of what's happening when we open up our browser. And we're going to cover some of the dangers of the internet. There's things more than a virus that's inconvenient or expensive. There's your finances and your identity at stake. And so we're going to learn about some of these dangers and also the simple things you can do that will keep you pretty safe. These are important things to cover. Not that anybody's in denial and it would never happen to be. So we're going to get into the 21st century here. We also need to cover data, what happens with your storage. If you have an application, you create documents. We need File Explorer or Mac Finder. How do we keep them organized? We're going to learn a little bit about, I know most of us do not know how to operate these utilities very well. What is file sharing? What is cloud storage? This is Happy New Year 2021. Finally, we need to discuss maintenance. Do you know what an account is? Do you know it can keep you 85% safer on your machine? Do you back your data up? Because if you don't, you're unhappy if your computer crashes. And what are some of the other maintenance things that will help preserve the life of your computer and keep you from having a computer incident? So my course is to try to help you from your kid doing this. Well, they might do that anyway, and it's good to have kids, but we're definitely going to reboot your brain into an upgrade. We're going to talk about what not to do and what to do and why. And we're going to have some fun. So please join me for our Computer Basics course next Tuesday, 11 o'clock. This is me when I'm not doing computers. And I do hope you'll register and that I see you next week.
Terrific. Thank you, Sharon. You definitely are our computer guru. I want to sign up. But this job gets in the way. So next, I'm excited to introduce Rick Rokus, who is probably getting known as our Friday Faculty Lounge, one of our directors for that. So we're excited that he's here and he's going to tell us about his courses. So fire away, Rick.
Hi, Linda and everybody. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Just a little brief background about me. My wife and I moved to the Cottonwood area about 5 years ago from Denver, and I am a retired aerospace business executive, not an engineer. It's on the business side. I have a consulting organization called Peak Performance Group. But the things that really keep me busy these days are working with OLLI, and also I'm full-time faculty at Regis University in Denver. I have currently up 4 different workshops that are available, and I'll give you a brief overview of each of them. The first is called the 25-hour day, how to save time in no time at all. I know we all can use more time, so this course is designed to provide you with numerous tips and tricks on how to capture time and become better organized to meet the challenges of your day. The next one is called Implementing Change, the dynamics of the change process. This started out as a look at how we made changes occur in aerospace, and the bottom line was I found out quickly that there isn't anything unique about how we make changes in aerospace compared to anybody making a successful change. And that's what this course is about. I've created a model after extensive research wherein we look at what are the 6 key steps to processing an activity such that you'll be successful in bringing about a change in your environment. The third course is a really interesting one. It's called Behavioral Styles. It's based on a couple of books, and it takes a dive into looking at leadership styles, behavioral models, and managerial approaches that we really all should be aware of. It's very simple in design, and it makes for much better interaction and communication when you know your particular leadership or behavioral style, and more importantly, those with whom you are interacting. And so we'll share some highlights and stories on the occurrences in that area. My last one is the latest one I just put together, and it's about habits, how to make them, break them, and keep them. So again, this is a work based on a couple of authors who have extensive material. One is called The Power of Habit by Charles Dugan, and the other is called Tiny Habits by B.J. Fogg. And so I've taken the materials from their books, put together a set of PowerPoint slides where we look at what we do on a regular basis. According to Mr. Fogg, we spend about 40% of our time doing things routinely out of habit. Don't even think about it. Well, if that's a good habit, that's fine. But if it's one that we are not comfortable with or want to change, the materials that we'll be going into in these 2 works will help you understand change, look at how to revise or eliminate a negative routine that you have, create a new one, and then most importantly, how to keep that new one alive. So those are the 4 that I have currently, and I look forward to seeing you in any and all of these courses. Thank you, Linda.
Thanks, Rick. That was great. And Rick will be back in a few minutes to talk to us about OLLI membership. But now we're going to move on to Darcy Hitchcock, who's going to talk to us about, let's see, she's going to talk to us about the sustainability class that she'll be offering. So Darcy, take it away.
Hey, thank you so much. So I'm organizing, not teaching, creating climate solutions for Sedona. I have 2 amazing presenters. One is my former business partner, Marcia Willard, who has taught Masters in Business Association MBA programs in sustainability at Bainbridge Graduate Institute, Presidio, and now she's at Saybrook. And also Mackenzie Jones, who is the sustainability coordinator for the city of Sedona, and she's working on a climate action plan. So I wanted to bring in a program that would help us look at the best available information about what to do about it. So this program is not about why is climate change happening? What are greenhouse gases? None of that. We assume you already know climate change is happening and why. And so we're going to launch right into the idea of solutions. Let me share my screen quickly. So we're going to be using a framework called Drawdown. I don't know if any of you have read the book Drawdown, but a group of people got together and basically did the math about which actions could have the biggest benefit for the least amount of money. So it's not just about what can we do, but it's what is it going to cost, because resources are always limited. So this is a 3-session program. The first session, Marsha Willard is going to sort of put the problem into context and explain this project drawdown. And so one thing that's interesting to me about Project Drawdown is they look at sources. Where do the greenhouse gases come from, like electricity, coal-fired power plants, that sort of thing. And sinks, where can we draw that carbon out of the atmosphere into, like trees and soil, and then also society. So sources, sinks, and society. What do we need to change about our behavior? So what I'm showing you here is Project Drawdown's analysis globally about where the opportunities are to solve the climate problem. But that's global. We're in Sedona aren't going to be worried about tropical forests, right? So the purpose of the first session and the second session will be to look at which of these ideas really make sense in our region. And then the second session will be looking at, well, what are the costs of those, and do those still make sense? And then in the third session, Mackenzie Jones is going to come in and say, here's what we already are looking at in terms of our climate action plan. Are we missing anything? So don't think about this as a normal class where you're coming to learn stuff. This is your opportunity to share your deep wisdom about the region and your thoughts about what our priorities ought to be to fix it. What is Sedona's role in fixing climate change locally? So I hope you'll be able to join us. It should be a fun and fascinating opportunity, and a great opportunity for you to make a difference in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Darcy, and thanks for the clarification about your facilitation of this terrific course. Next up, we have Sherry Hauser, who has actually 2 courses that she's offering this time. Sherry, I'm going to turn it over to you. And those of you that are just now joining us, go ahead and mute yourself unless you're speaking. And if you will, go ahead and turn off your video. Thanks, Sherry. Take it away.
Hello, my name is Sherry Hauser, and I'm a book publisher. I'm going to teach a couple of classes this semester. One is overview of KDP, tour of KDP or something like that. What it is there's books on Amazon. I'm not going to show you videos or anything because I think everybody is really familiar with Amazon. I'm trying to get that light out of the thing. But you have books on Amazon. There's a lot of free ways to get your book moving. And there are many people who have their book already on Amazon, but they don't really know how to check on the status of it, if it's actually selling. How do I make royalties? You can do free book promotions and all kinds of stuff. So we're just going to kind of take a tour. They're changing. It used to be Create Space. It was purchased by KDP, which is Kendall Digital Publishing, in 2018. So some people may even have their books stuck on the old site. How do you convert it? All those questions are going to be available, and we're just going to kind of cruise through, look at books on Amazon and see what the difference is and how did they get on the first pages. How do those first pages affect sales? That's bottom line. You want your book to sell. So how do you get your book to sell for the cheapest way possible? The other course, I taught it before, it's making book covers. If you have a book cover or you have a book and you want to make a book cover, we'll be making a few professional book covers, and those book covers are usable on, if you want to publish your book on KDP, or if you want to pay for a professional, like let's say you want to order a stack of books and send out for those. We'll be doing both of those. The courses are really easy to teach on Zoom. We just cruise around, look at different options and answer a lot of questions. And I think that if you do have a book, you're interested in a book and you're wondering how to sell books on Amazon, this is a very good course for you. I'm done.
Oh, thank you, Sherry. You are so concise, and thank you for all you do for us. We appreciate it. Now we're going to take a quick foray into learning about membership. Hey, Rick, you want to tell our OLLI friends about membership in OLLI?
Sure thing, Linda. Thank you. I appreciate it. OLLI offers us quite a bit, and I don't know if people are familiar with how it's set up, but OLLI is an organization that works through Yavapai College. And as far as, I guess the basic question is, so why should I become a member of OLLI? What's in it for me? So basically, you get a chance to participate in a senior-friendly learning programs, the workshops we've been talking about. And it encourages an opportunity to get to know more people, get involved with what's going on in some of these different areas. Okay. We also, through OLLI, offer members-only workshops and courses that you would not normally see in the catalog. If you are so inclined, you can become a facilitator or teach a course to people via OLLI that is related to something in your background, your expertise, okay? So as I said before, it's a way to meet and dialogue with people. It's another nice feature is that the membership will offer you the opportunity to access the Yavapai College library on the Verde Valley campus. And then there's also Yavapai College courses that you can take and receive a 25% discount as an OLLI member. So there are different membership levels, if you will. I'm not going to go into those in depth, but basically just to let you know that there's a basic annual membership and then some learning group memberships, which is a little less, and then the individual workshop memberships, which are around $15. So if you're interested in learning more about OLLI or getting more insight about the things I've just mentioned, the best thing to do is to call Linda at 928-649-4275. I'll repeat that. Call Linda at 928-649-4275. Thanks.
Thanks, Rick. I really appreciate that. And one other thing I'll go ahead and mention, we've moved our terms to 5 terms instead of 4. So you get actually more weeks of programming. We're excited about that. And if you have questions about what that means for you, just email us or call us and we can fill you in on that or ask one of our OLLI leaders. Next up, we have Jim Hamilton, who's going to tell us about his course related to world peace. So Jim, if you want to go ahead and unmute yourself and show yourself and talk to us.
All right, Jim Hamilton here. First thing I want to say is that OLLI is really special, and people that have not explored it or experienced it really should, especially now that we're moving to Zoom, because our capacity to be influential among each other, between ourselves, is growing, and education and everything that's new that's going on in the world is going to come through Zoom. And even if COVID's over, I think Zoom is here to stay. Myself, I'm a longtime meditator, 40 plus years. I stopped counting at 40 years. In 2006, I was introduced to neurofeedback. I actually worked with a couple of physicists at that particular time. And in fact, what happened was one of them, he was measuring intention. And so we were working in kind of a subtle world of neurofeedback. And what I discovered was that resistance is a big part of our reality creating. And because we were working with neurofeedback, I discovered that as you quieted the nervous system, our worlds open up. Allowing becomes more available, non-resistance becomes more available, and curiously, in resistance, we get more of the same. In allowing, we have new things that open up in each moment. So what I've discovered how to do is use neurofeedback to quiet the nervous system, and in quieting the nervous system, similar to a lifetime of meditation, We enable our natural state of connection with source, with the cosmos, the frequency of God, whatever you want to call it. And in doing that, we become blended with the frequency of God. You might say as we are less resistant, we are more open. In fact, resistance and openness are exact opposites, and consciousness is less, less resistance and more allowing. As we move into more and more allowing, it's natural for us to blend with the frequency of God, and we become exponential in our contribution because we're now partnered with something bigger than ourselves. What my work is about, and what the course I'm teaching, which is called NFBR4-World Peace, which is actually short for Neurofeedback Research for World Peace. What I'm showing people is that we can group together in small groups, quiet our nervous systems through this proprietary neurofeedback that I've discovered and developed and proven, and we can become exponential as groups in contributing to making the world a better place. The term coherent critical mass seems to be important these days. And as we discover, first off, our partnership with innate intelligence, our partnership with each other, we can go beyond a linear expression of participation and make the world a better place by this partnership. The long story short is, as we become enabled of this connection, we ground coherence into the world, and coherence dissipates distortion. I've forgotten about my timer. Anyway, I want to invite people to take a closer look at what core resonance is about, what this course I'm teaching is about. You can learn more about it at coreresonance.com, my homepage, and the NFBR4-worldpeace.com is another interpretation of what we're doing. I recognize that we're primarily a local group, and as a local group, it's important that we learn how to band together to make the world a better place. It's one thing to do it on your own, but when you band together, we become more contributive. We become usefully influential. There's an expression or a quote from Margaret Mead: "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has." I invite you to come look. I invite you to come look at what core resonance is all about, and join me in my class. I believe it is, I want to say February 1st. I'm not sure. Great to be part of this group, and I want to thank you for your time. Please let me know if you have any questions through my website or my number, 310-878-2268. Thanks.
Thanks, Jim. You've said so many things that resonate, but I think what you said at the beginning about Zoom's going to be with us in this online learning, and it's a great opportunity. So thank you so much, Jim, for teaching for us, and your course sounds very exciting. Next up, we have Bob Hazeman, who's going to talk to us about science, news, and views. So Bob, take it away.
Hi. Let's see, maybe I will start sharing now. Can you see my slide?
Yes.
Okay. I'm one of the facilitators, organizers for what we call Science, News, and Views. I share that role with John Black. My background is I'm a chemical engineer. I spent about half of my 38-year career in R&D, and the other half in international business, traveling around the world. What else do I do? I enjoy astronomy, especially cosmology, the beginnings of the universe and how did the universe form. And I'm also a jazz guitarist, focusing on Latin music, Latin jazz. Let's see, can I make this presentation move? There we go. Science, News, and Views has been offered continuously for 6 years. We average about 35 students. We've had over 200 topics presented, and we are starting next week on Wednesday at 8:30 in the morning. What is Science News? Let's see if I can get this so I can see my own screen. Yes. our objective is really to share our understanding of recent scientific developments and the potential impact on society. How do we do that? I mentioned that I'm not teaching, I'm pretty much just coordinating, and we are asking the students to share presentations. The presentations are often, say, just 15 minutes long. If people don't want to present, we also bring in science news articles and just wing it, just articles that you're interested in. And then really the key focus here is the questions and the discussion, trying to understand together what these scientific developments are about. And so it's not just a one-way communication teaching, but it's a discussion group. And then I'm just going to finish up and show you some subjects by way of some pictures. That is the Cassini mission to Saturn. We've had that presentation. We've got global warming. We've got exoplanet search. We've got tsunamis. We've had my favorite, naked mole rats, magnetic fields around the Earth, CRISPR, and masks, filtration, the fundamentals of filtration, the amazing water molecule, touch, eyesight, fusion reactors, vitamin D, and time. And that's not time management, that is what is time. The amazing thing about time is physicists don't need it. And physicists are really pondering what the heck is time. So there's the physics mode of thinking, and then there's also the perception, our human perception of time. So that was just a tiny section of some of the presentations that we've had. You can see that they're all over the place, and that's the way we love it. Any questions? Okay.
Thanks,
Thank you very
Bob.
much.
Thank you so very much. I don't know if I'm ever going to recover from that naked mole rat, but I'm going to try.
The naked mole rat is an amazing animal. It's the size of a mouse. It lives 10 times longer than a mouse, up to 30 years. They live underground and they can live in an oxygen atmosphere that's a quarter of what would kill any other mammals. And they do that because any animal who comes down their warren will die. All they have to do is stay in underground in this low oxygen environment they live in, and all their predators will die, including snakes, will die when they come in. So they're a pretty amazing animal.
Isn't their diet exclusively tubers?
Yes, they live in East Africa, Ethiopia, Mozambique. That's about it. Yeah, they're amazing, ugly animals.
Okay.
I'm moving to tubers myself. I am.
All right. Well, I guess, thank you, Bob. And I'm sure we're all going to want to run out and sign up for that. Next up, we have Marge Haas, who leads our transitions, which is a special interest group. And she's teaching 2 classes for us this time, based on cathedrals and one on classical music. So Marge, take it away.
Hi. I will be facilitating the transition group, which talks about how we have adapted change from 2019 and 2021, how we've adapted to things we've lost, like being able to go out, and things we have to do, like cook. Okay. The courses I am teaching include exploring interesting cathedrals. I just love to look at cathedrals and their buildings and understand their history and their structure. We'll look a little bit at how a cathedral is built, and what the functions of the different parts of the cathedral are. We will look at different beautiful buildings, including this one in our own state of Tucson. And of course, we'll look at beautiful things like the rose window at Sharp. Now, my other course is a new course in Bach, Beethoven, Bartholdy. Maybe you know who that is. And we'll add a lot of other composers. Composers in general have been kind of short. And here are a few. We'll play a few games like Name That Composer. I wonder if anybody who knows who that guy on the left is. He looks a little stern. Well, here they are. Beethoven, Mozart, Schubert, Wagner, and Stravinsky. They don't all start with B, but this was a cute. And here is another cute picture. Johann Sebastian Bach and Johann Sebastian Frank. Now we will look at pictures, we will have fun, and we'll listen to music too. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you, Marge. This sounds very exciting, and thank you again for leading the Transition Special Interest Group and for participating today. Next up, we have Paul Friedman, one of our most favorite OLLI facilitators, and he's going to talk about the courses that he's teaching from poetry, spirituality, and sensuality, and there's hope fixing partisan gridlock. So take it away, Paul.
Hey, I'm happy to have this opportunity to share what my plans for the upcoming term. Do you have that slide that I sent you or not?
Paul, I didn't know you sent me a slide. I'm so sorry.
Okay, no problem. I'll put up what I have here if I can. Okay, am I successfully sharing a slide?
Yes, you are, Paul.
Good. Okay. Well, I'll be teaching three learning groups during the upcoming term. They'll all be offered on Thursdays, beginning at 8:30 in the morning. I'll be teaching a class called There's Hope, Breaking Partisan Gridlock. And this is for people who are concerned about what's happening in our country in terms of politics and democracy. And it'll all be about a movement and innovations in the electoral system, in citizen education, in government institutions that are prevalent throughout our country, but are below the radar. Most people don't know about them. So if you're feeling concerned about civic affairs in America today, this class will give you hope. You'll find out about many innovations, many efforts being done to open up democracy to being more effective, to going beyond the two-party competition system that seems to be stifling innovation and enhancements in our society. I can assure you that at every session you will learn about things that are going on that you didn't know about before, and you'll be feeling, wow, there's hope. How exciting. And I promise you, we will never mention the names Donald Trump. No one can wear anything colored red or blue in the class. And will not use the word impeachment or stop the steal once. It'll all be about activities that you can actually feel inspired by and talk with your friends and family members who disagree with you politically, and you'll find that there will be common ground, that these are great ideas for our country, and that the implementation of them will be clearly to the advantage of our democracy. Then at 11 o'clock, I'll be teaching a class called Poetry in America. If you've ever thought poetry would be fun to get into and enjoyable, this is the most appealing and engaging approach to it. It's based on a PBS series, and there are presentations of very moving and insightful poems by American poets, and we'll be discussing them, and there will be commentary on these same poems from people like Yo-Yo Ma and Joe Biden and Katie Couric and Billy Collins and Shaquille O'Neal and John McCain and Al Gore and Michael Pollan and John Lithgow and Bono and Herbie Hancock and lots of other people who are people like us who enjoy and want to get the most out of poetry. So these are, all of these classes are discussion groups. They're not listening to lectures. There will be input from expert sources, but it's very much to get you thinking, get you feeling, get you sharing, and feeling that you're becoming enriched and wiser as a result of engaging in them. The third class will be from 1:30 to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It'll be called Spirituality and Sensuality, Sacred Objects in Religious Life. The material will be springboarding off is a class offered by a professor and author through the platform edX. And he says that a lot of the enrichment that we get from spirituality, religion, whatever, comes through objects, comes through touch, through smell, through taste, through sight, through all of our physical senses.
Pardon me, Paul. Pardon me, Paul. You have another 30 seconds.
Okay. That's all I need to say is these 3 classes are available on Thursdays. You're welcome to join any one of them. The size is limited so that we can have good discussion time. If you have any questions, just email me at this email address. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. I appreciate that. All of your courses sound so hopeful, and I encourage everybody to sign up for one. Next, we have our own playwright, Phil. Yes, you already come up. Phil Fickelstein is going to talk to us about his course. Take it away.
Hi, everyone. I hope you can hear me on my backup computer. It seems like we have backup weather here today in Sedona. And even when the weather's frightful, it's always delightful to be dealing with OLLI. My previous work as an author and playwright includes 2 books. One is Love Always. The other one is Belated Irish Spring, both available on Amazon. I'm here today to talk about becoming a beginning playwright. I've authored 8 plays, most of which are available on NPX. So why be a playwright? Why would you be interested in that? Well, the purpose of this course is to give you the opportunity to start writing plays and to start reading them out loud to other people in a safe environment. Theater is a different dimension than writing a book. When you write a book, it feels almost as if you're writing in 2 dimensions. But when you're dealing with theater, it's actually 3 dimensions. You're interacting with the crowd. You're feeling their presence. You're making changes as provided by the actors. You watch a movie, but you experience a play. Some of the things we're going to include in the course include, number 1, why use a play instead of another format? Number 2, where do formative ideas come from? Number 3, how do you start a play and keep people's interest in it? Number 4, maybe even more important, how do you know when it's done? And number 5, how do you protect your rights to what you've created, i.e. copyright, and how do you get it produced? I hope all of you take an interest in this and we get the minimum 2 people necessary so I can put it on, so we can get started. And even if you don't have any experience in writing, this will be a different type of opportunity. Thanks a lot, and that's it for me.
Thanks, Phil, and glad your backup computer worked. If I weren't working, I'd sign up for that. I think everybody's got a book or maybe a play inside of them, so that sounds great. Thank you so much for teaching for us. Before I turn it over to our next presenter, I just want to give everybody a quick reminder about what's coming up this Friday. We're going to do Sex, Drugs, and Growing Old with Dennis Garvey, who used to be Dean of the Division of Lifelong Learning here at Yavapai College. It's going to be a format similar to what we have today. And those of you that know Dennis, he's pretty fun to talk with. He has a great sense of humor, and he's always interested in whatever everyone else is thinking. So plan to join us for this free event, Sex, Drugs, and Growing Old, A Boomer's Guide to Aging, this Friday, January 22nd, 1:30 p.m. And the Zoom links have been sent out, but if you can't find yours, give us a call and we can get that set up for you. Now we're going to turn it over to Denny Fanter. Denny is a longtime OLLI teacher, and he's going to talk to us about Medicare 101, everything you need to know about Medicare. All right, Denny, you're up.
Thank you, Linda, and I apologize, my phone just started ringing. Okay, Medicare, the great mystery of older people. Far too many people, mainly agents, have all these stories about how difficult Medicare is to understand. Well, it's not. The idea of Medicare 101 is to show you what parts A and B of Medicare do, how Medicare pays for your hospitalization or your doctor bills. And then in addition to Medicare Parts A and B, you only have two more choices. You can have a supplement or an advantage plan, or you can keep just A and B. We go in detail to how each Medicare supplement, there are lettered A through N, how each one protects you to a certain degree and which ones give you the most protection. Then we talk about the advantage plans and talk about how an advantage plan gives you protection in a different way. Almost every agent that ever talked to me when I turned 65 never even mentioned supplements. Well, that's because the agent gets a lot more commission by selling an advantage plan, but I assure you, you're not getting the benefit. They are. We'll explain that in the class and compare the two. The third part, we talk about the prescription drug plans and what's available there. There's not a matter of comparison there, but it's important that we understand what A and B provide you straight up, then how the supplement protects you, how the advantage protects you, and what options you have after you're 65 if you find that you need or want a different kind of coverage. I'll yield the rest of my time, all 45 seconds of it.
Thank you, Denny. And that sounds so helpful and informative. And I am going to make it to class one day. Thank you so much for teaching for us. Now we're going to switch to Tony Caetano, and Tony has several classes that he's going to offer for us this time. So Tony, you have about, I think, 4, plus you're going to take over a class for Shri. So Tony, you're up. So tell us about your classes.
Here we go. Thank you so much, Linda. I appreciate it. As most of you know, I've been with OLLI for about 8 years now on the Leadership Council and working with Linda and the Leadership Council to keep OLLI running in this time of global pandemic and loss of membership and funding. So it's very important that we're doing this. The first course I'm going to talk about is the Art of Aging. And this is a workshop. And I got a quote here from Dennis: "Youth is the gift of nature, but age is a work of art." We will review and discuss the biological, psychological, and social research has taught us about growing old. We will discuss what is common with aging, what is not normal, and key components of successful aging. The trajectory of aging gets shaped very early in life, but there are steps you can take to maximize your later years. We will be watching videos from the one-day university professors. One, The Art of Aging by Dr. Brian Carpenter from Washington University in St. Louis, and from Dr. Jill Helms from Stanford University, Forever Young, and How Scientists Are Learning to Keep Us from Getting Old. Actually, she talks about the naked mole rats. And the reason why they live so long is because they have long telomeres, which are a genetic component, and she will explain that. We will also have a brief presentation from Ann Crossman, who wrote the book, Young at Heart, Aging Gracefully with Attitude. And I had a picture here, but it's not coming up. It's from Mark Twain, who says that aging is a matter of mind over matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter. The other thing that I'm going to be doing and talking about briefly here is Shree's class, Verde Valley, a series by local historians. This is a learning group. It has 6 sessions on Tuesday. January 26th is the start, and it ends on March 2nd. It goes from 11 o'clock to 12:30. We will be presenting the history of Verde Valley full of interesting people and anecdotes. Come learn our history from local historical societies, Sedona, Cottonwood, Clarkdale, Camp Verde, Cornville, and Jerome. Each week, a representative from one of these historical societies will present stories and anecdotes about the history of their town. This will be an ongoing session for the 6 weeks. I've taken this course with Shree, and the presenters from the respective historical societies are very interesting. I learned a lot about the Verde Valley and its unique characteristics, from the pioneers to the cowboys to mining and etc. And in Jerome's case, brothels. And the woman who ran the brothel was one of the richest women at that time. And she took the money and bought real estate. So interesting little tidbits like that come up. So I encourage you to sign up for the workshop or the learning groups. And I just also wanted to put a plug in that right now we have a special discount membership for only $10. You get 2 terms, and your money is, here it is, the Try Me membership. $10 for 2 terms for first-time OLLI members only. So hopefully you have friends and relatives that you can tell about this, and instead of watching Netflix all the time, they can join OLLI and get to interact with their peers and enjoy what we say as the stay connected, stay engaged, and stay healthy. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. That's a great slate of classes, and we're really excited about that. And thank you for all your work as a volunteer for OLLI. Next, we have Louise Brenton, who is going to talk to us about her pottery class. So, Louise, you're up.
Okay. So I'm going to be presenting, let's see if I can find my screen here. A one-day workshop on February 22nd on Mata Ortiz pottery. And for those of you who aren't familiar with this type of pottery, it's made in one small village in northern Chihuahua, Mexico, about 4 hours south of the Arizona border. The pottery was inspired by the Paquime culture that was prevalent there in the 13th to 15th century, but modern day Mata Ortiz pottery is actually has its origins in a serendipitous meeting between these 2 men, Spencer McCallum, who was a US anthropologist, and Juan Quesada, who was a farmer and part-time potter in the village of Mata Ortiz. And Juan was an admitted junk store addict who happened across these 2 pots in a junk store in Deming, New Mexico, and he was fascinated to find out where they came from. So he went on a quest to Mexico to find out where they were made and to meet the potter. And it took some effort to find the potter because there were no established roads into the village, but he eventually made it to Monte Ortiz and met up with Juan and loved the pottery so much that he commissioned a couple of pieces that he brought back to the States. And interest grew in the pottery, and a number of other individuals in the village decided that they wanted to become potters because they found that they could make more money doing that than farming. And eventually this grew into a huge industry, and now in the village of 2,000 people, there are about 600 potters. So the pots are uniquely formed. They're not formed on a potter's wheel. They're actually formed by the coil method. And then they're painted with intricate designs, and they oftentimes use the hair of children for the brushes so that they can get a lot of detail. The pots are not fired in a kiln. They're actually fired in open fires using either dung or cottonwood bark. And despite how prevalent the pottery is in the village, their marketing plan is fairly basic. There are very few galleries, and the way that you find the pottery if you go to the village is to walk around, and you're oftentimes greeted by people in their trucks who will be very happy to show you the pots. Oftentimes you're invited into the homes where you will find people painting, usually at their kitchen tables, while simultaneously eating their lunches. And despite the less than optimal working conditions, the pots that are coming out of the village nowadays, in my opinion, are incredibly innovative, beautiful. And these are just a few examples of some recent pots that have been made in the village. And I should note that the prices of the pots are really quite affordable, particularly when you consider the amount of work that goes into them. So in my one-day workshop, which will be about 2 hours in length, I'm going to be talking about where the village is located and talking about some of the sites of interest in the surrounding areas, including the ruins of Paquime. It's also interesting that in this area of Mexico, there are a lot of Mennonite and Mormon communities, some of which are polygamous Mormon communities. I'll be talking about the history of the area prior to the 1970s and then what I call the post-Juan Quesada era. I will share with you how the pottery is made, familiarize you with some of the pots that have been made by the first generation potters, now by the second generation potters who are the children of the first generation potters, and then some of the grandchildren are actually now making pots. For those of you who might be interested in buying some of these pots, I'll talk about how to identify the best pots and how to collect them. And then I'll be giving some logistical advice on how to visit the area, which I would highly recommend, and then conclude with some new developments in the village. So I've been going down to this part of Mexico for about 15 years, and it's just a real unique place to visit. Meeting the potters is a real thrill. And so I hope to engender some enthusiasm on the whole idea of Monte Ortiz pottery through this workshop. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Louise. The pottery is beautiful and the history that you've given us is very intriguing. So I'm excited about this course. Thank you for teaching for us. Next up, we have Richard Bonner, who's going to talk to us about his astronomy course, Basic Astronomy, Stars, Constellations, Milky Way, and Beyond. So it's your turn, Richard.
Okay. So I'm going to share my screen here. And oops, wrong one. And let's see here. So my name is Richard Bonner, and I teach basic astronomy in the OLLI program at Yavapai College. And in my course, we'll take a look at different types of stars, beginning with our own sun, and we'll learn what makes it tick. And we'll also take a look at some other types of stars, like super red giants and brown dwarfs. I'll also cover constellations, which are patterns of stars that bear some likeness to ancient heroes, heroines, monsters, and other objects of the ancient Greeks, Babylonians, and Romans. We'll take a few prominent constellations from each season and learn how to locate them in the sky. We'll also take a look at what else lies in these constellations, like star clusters,
And also the planets, they will wander through constellations over the years. And also we will take a look at some galaxies that are there. This is the Andromeda Galaxy, which is our next door neighbor at about 2.5 billion light years away. And it's actually moving towards us at 85 miles a second. Arizona has some great dark sky areas once you get away from the big cities. And there are plenty of things to see and discover. All you need to do is look up. So come join me in an intriguing and rewarding adventure across the Arizona night sky. The purpose of this course is to get you familiar with the night sky and to be able to locate objects that we discuss in class on your own in the actual sky from your backyard. So my class will be presented on Thursdays from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. on Zoom. And there's no special equipment necessary, and I will send handouts to you via emails on there'll be a glossary of terms and some star charts of constellations that we'll cover. And come join me in the dark. So back to you, Linda.
Thank you so much. I appreciate this, and your classes always sound so interesting, and we will join you in the dark. Next up, we have Charles Bloom. And for those of you that didn't catch this earlier, Charles is one of the founders and directors of our Friday Faculty Lounge, which all of our faculty are invited to participate in. That's held on, oh my goodness, Charles, is it the first Friday of every month or second?
Second Friday.
Oops. I'm so glad you're here. The second Friday from noon until 1, and they just have a good time sharing ideas to make their teaching better and just the camaraderie and fun. So I hope you all will join them sometime. But right now I'm going to turn it over to Charles, and he's going to talk to you about his classes. He has 2 being offered: The World, A Brief Introduction, and U.S.-China Relations.
Thank you, Linda. Okay, I guess it's there. It's my pleasure to talk to you all this way today. I wish I knew more of you. I'm relatively new to Sedona, and I've been busy while I'm here. A few words of background. I'm trained in history, international relations, and economics. I had a longish career in government as a diplomat at the State Department, as a senior trade official in the Executive Office of the President. That's the White House complex. Since then, I've been 33 years as an independent consultant on a range of issues: trade, tax, capacity building, and foreign relations. I mean, the constant is I've been doing foreign relations one way or another for 55 years since I was a student. I have had extensive official and commercial business in Western Europe, Eastern Europe, Asia, Latin America, and a little bit in Africa. I've taught a little bit at the University of Pennsylvania and American University in politics and economics. And I am about to launch, it looks like maybe next week, with a couple of old government friends, a new blog called America's Challenges to allow us to comment in a nonpartisan way on the broadest possible range of issues that America faces, economic, political, social, academic, all kinds of things. Everything is fair game for us. That's going to be a fun project for the next few years. I'm teaching 2 courses this session at OLLI. The first is that I'll mention is a workshop on U.S.-China relations. It'll be 3 hours on February 15th. I call this ripped from the headlines. It's the 3rd version of this that I've done. Each one has been substantially different because, in fact, the world is changing. And what we're trying to do in 3 hours is to get at the basic underlying rivalry between the United States and China, trying to understand why it is the way it is, and hopefully what might be done on both sides to move us onto a better arc for the future. The fun of this for me has been that we always have a range of experience, a range of knowledge. And so we come up with a different set of questions, a different set of proposals each time we do this. So not only is the world changing, but I think our input to our discussion is changing. And that for me is the great payoff of doing this. Second, more structured learning groups, four sessions on Tuesdays beginning January 26th. It's based on this terrific primer by Richard Haas, who is the longtime now president of the Council on Foreign Relations in New York. He called it The World, a Brief Introduction. And let me just read what Doris Kearns Goodwin, I think somebody that is well known to many of you, she said briefly about this book. This terrific work delivers completely on its promise to provide readers with a basic understanding of the world. It is hard to imagine anyone more suited for this ambitious task than Richard Haas. His narrative flair, depth of experience, and wide-ranging knowledge sparkle on every page. So I'm proposing to take that book. It has conveniently 4 sections. Each, I would devote one session to each section of the book. It's about 75 pages. And that would have let us get into how the system that we live in has evolved. We're talking about the global system. The current set of problems in the broadest possible way. I mean, region by region, issue by issue. So instead of going over sort of traditional diplomacy and geopolitics, this gives us a chance to look at global health, climate change, education, economic development, any issue of concern to the participants in the group. I would urge everyone to read as much of this book as possible. And copies are available, we can help you with that. You don't have to, however. I'll make a summary each time, and then we'll have a discussion focusing on the interests of the participants. As I say, I always get more out of these courses than I put into them, and I try to put a lot into them. The Chinese have a saying, Ho Dao Lao, Shui Dao Lao. My pronunciation don't go by that, but it's close. It means live until you're old, study until you're old. And for me, this is if China were lucky enough to have an OLLI, that would be their motto. So I hope that you will join us in this. Feel free to contact me. My email is there, chbloom45@yahoo. That tells you how old I am. And my
Charlie, you're bumping up against your 5 minutes.
My phone number, 301, it's a Maryland number, but I use it, 301-717-4210. Everyone is welcome. Bring your problems, bring your questions.
Thank you so much, Charles. And what's so nice, I've had the privilege of sitting through part of one of his classes, and the wealth of knowledge and the hearty conversation that occurs is wonderful. And just since Charles mentioned this, if you have heard or had been interested in a topic that's been shared today, fear not. We have this list that went out in the newsletter of all the courses these were not all the courses that are being offered this term, but these are the courses that we've shared with you today. If you need information about these, we can either send you this document, you can refer to your OLLI email blast that went out and look at those courses. Just email us at ollisv, ollisv@yc.edu. So now, last but certainly not least, my friend, Darielle Archer is going to present on her class, which is Energy First Aid, Learn Self-Healing. And I bet we could all use that, Darielle. So tell us about your course.
Well, thank you, Linda. And it's such an honor to be part of the OLLI group. And it's so wonderful because right now we're in a time where we need healing. We need the ability to create that healing mindset. And this, I want to share a technique that brings me such joy that you can do it really, really fast, but it gives you an idea of how we collect thoughts. Think of our skin as being like a magnet that attaches and collects depending on your mindset to your skin. So if you'll join me for just a moment here, it's very quick, but it will allow you, I want you just to put your arm out, your left arm out, and put your right hand on your left shoulder, fingers on the top, thumb on the bottom. And I just want you to like rake down like your hand, just like you're pulling off something, like you're brushing. I call it the negative brush off. It's like, oh, we're getting rid of those thoughts. We've often walked into a room that you could just cut it with a knife, the heaviness there. And so at the end, just feel like you're just pulling out that negativity. Some of it will feel like Velcro, others will feel like little pockets just stuck to your skin. And now let's just drop your hand and shake it a few times, and then put both arms up. And you will experience, some people will experience a greater change of where the left hand and arm will want to rise up more. Some will feel a much more subtle change. And just to always keep everything equal, we're going to also do the same thing to our right arm. So if you put your right arm up, your left arm on your right shoulder, fingers on the top, fingers on the top, thumb on the bottom. And we're just, again, going to pull that energy off, that stuff where we collect, because in our arms and when we face people, we collect. There's so much nonverbal communication that transpires. So it's like one more and just pull it at the end. Again, just shake out your arm and put them both up. And again, they'll feel more equal. I often find that the dominant hand collects more negativity, and you may feel it much more on your dominant hand. My energy workshop helps you create, I call it like the energy first aid kit. When you're hurt, you go to the kit, you open up, you get your alcohol swabs, you get your bandages. The energy first aid kit is like that. It helps you create that healing mindset, because it all does start with the mind. What we believe is true. What we don't believe is true. I'll show you again a deeper version of the negative brush off, and employ that really dial down the pain. So if you're in pain, this workshop is for you. It's a technique you can do anywhere, at any time, at any place. And I look forward to seeing you there. This is Dario Archer. You can also contact me at thepositiveworks.com. Thank you all. Okay. Thank you. Oops.
Thank you, Dario.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And I'm thinking about my dominant right hand right now. I'm wondering if I've got a little tension going on there. What I'd like to do now, we still have a little bit of time left. You've heard from all of the presenters that we had on our agenda today, which I'm going to pull up one more time for everyone to be able to see. If you would like to unmute yourself or raise your hand and ask a question of any of these facilitators, if you have a question about registration, or if you're even just curious about when do you think we'll go back to face-to-face learning, we'd be delighted to respond to those questions. So I'll just open it up, and feel free to unmute yourself and speak. Any comments, thoughts?
Linda, I'm going to put a plug in for people to contribute to OLLI. The Leadership Council, every member on the Leadership Council stepped up and contributed $1,000. So now we have our own OLLI Sedona Verde Valley Endowment. The goal is to try and get $50,000 into that endowment so that we can start receiving additional income every year. So to set up the endowment, it cost us $10,000 of contributions. Anyone who would like to contribute, we'd certainly love to have you support us in that way. We also have the 300 Club, which just so happens that the CARES Act that was just passed has a provision in there that if you give $300 to a nonprofit charity, which YC Foundation is, you will be able to take $300 deduction directly off of your I don't know what they call that, taxable income. So thank you, Linda, for putting that up. We have the 300 Club, the Excellence in Education Fund. We also have the Scholarship Fund for people who can't afford to pay for the tuition or membership, and also taking courses. That has been very active, and we've supported a lot of people over the years.
And Tony, may I point out, we've had 2 students in the last week ask for scholarships, and we've awarded those. So if you know of someone, those of you in the audience who would like to take classes with us right now during Zoom, but they don't have the finances, or even when we're back face to face, all they need to do is send an email or call us, and we can do everything confidentially.
Thank you, Linda.
Any other comments or questions about programs, suggestions, ideas? I'll just put up here again, we do have the trial membership for, we have a lot of people, as you all know, coming into our community. There's been a lot of movement. So we have this trial membership, which will basically take them for winter term and spring term. It is our sincere hope that we'll be doing some hybrid learning, which is face-to-face and online in the summer, and that we'll definitely be doing face-to-face by the fall as the vaccine becomes available. We're hoping that we'll be able to do this, and we're already making some preparations about how we'll be teaching hybrid classes and having people in the building and people out in cyberspace Zoom land. And another real perk we have of being on Zoom online is we're able to share our OLLI and Prescott classes. So Prescott OLLI members can take OLLI and Sedona classes, Sedona Verde Valley, and likewise. So that's been a real treat. One of the positives that's come out of our experience of learning online. Well, feel free if you have any questions. If not, I guess we'll wrap it up. We're going to post this recording on our OLLI Sedona Verde Valley YouTube channel. It likely won't be up until tomorrow. The recording will take a little bit to go through, and we'll point people that way. Feel free to call or email us. Jen, am I missing anything?
Yes, I see Tricia Borlow's hand up.
Thanks. Michael Gunn is our chair of the Prescott OLLI, and he actually lifts it. What we do in the Prescott OLLI is you hold your name up when you want to be recognized. That's our cue. Oh, where's the camera? There we go. So Michael Gunn would like to say something.
Hey, Michael.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to say thank you so much for taking time to share with us what you're offering for workshops and courses this coming time. I think some of our folks majority of our folks down in Prescott are not aware of the good works that you're doing. And I can see that this was recorded, and I'm hoping that maybe Linda and Tricia could put their heads together to figure out a way that we can keep trying to get the word out to more Prescott OLLI members as to what you folks are offering up there.
Thank you so much, Michael. And you know what? I am remiss. I should have looked at all the pictures, but Tricia Burlow is here too, and she is my counterpart over in Prescott. So we work very closely, and I'm just delighted that she's here, and I'm very lucky. I get to work with Jen and Tricia. I have a very good life. And thank you, Michael, for taking the time from your day to spend it with us.
I was really impressed with your classes. They sound great. I think lots of our folks would be interested, and you know, I've sent out your PDF, but not, you know, like you all know, not everybody opens it or spends the time. And sometimes that personal touch makes a difference. So Michael, I had already emailed Linda about half an hour ago and asked her, hey, you gotta send me your video as soon as it's ready. And then I'll get it out. So we're on it.
Hey, Tricia, could we see your dog? Because clearly you've got a dog in your lap.
I do. He's just.
Oh.
This is Luke.
Oh, Luke.
Everybody loves a dog.
Everybody loves a dog, don't they, Jen?
Yeah.
He's very invasive.
Anybody else want to share a pet? Favorite song? Well, thank you again, Michael and Tricia, for joining us, and all of you. Thank you most of all to our OLLI facilitators. These are interesting times teaching online, but you know what? We're all learning something new every day, which is probably something that each of us aspire to do every day, especially in OLLI. So thank you, and we'll get this video posted. Have a great afternoon.